Hi, I am Kedger on Wheels, and today we'll be trying the Yamaha Tricity 300. Yamaha keeps pushing the three-wheel scooters forwards, and here's the latest iteration. Maybe I shouldn't have said three-wheel scooters, because their second try was the Nikon, which is not quite a scooter, remember? Anyways, this one has one important development. The front suspension is lockable, and if you notice, there's no side stand. Or actually there is, it's just not on it. Neither side stand nor center stand. It's standing by itself. Fantastic. It's just a small brake that you activate through this button that locks up the suspension. Other than that, it is a relatively regular scooter, although pretty heavy. This weighs 239 kilograms with a full tank, so wet weight is 239, which is a lot. It is also pretty wide, even though Yamaha says it's a thin bike that fits anywhere. That's a lie. It's pretty wide. It is way wider than my Tracer 900s, and so no, it doesn't fit everywhere. It's not ridiculously wide like the Nikon, but it is pretty wide. The other little detail you might be interested in is you can actually ride this with only a car license, because the front wheels are 49 centimeters apart, which is one more than the legal requirement of 48. So, car drivers, here we go. And that's what this is marketed to. It costs 2,000 euros extra than the regular X-Max 300. It has the same engine. So for 2,000 extra euros you can actually ride this with a car license. It has a foot brake for some reason. I think it's to make car drivers more comfortable. But other than that, a pretty regular scooter with a gigantic space underneath the seat, a 12-volt charger, although it does not have the traditional cubby hole here, which is disappointing because if you try to charge your phone you don't have a place to actually put it in. Due to its width, it is very good in wind protection and weather protection, so I don't think you're going to need one of those skirts scooters like to wear on the colder climates, because this is very wide, the windscreen is very tall, it is not easily adjustable, it is not adjustable at all. Okay, maybe with a couple of screws removing this, but I'm not 100% sure. LED headlamps, LED headlamps, filament indicators at the rear, LED lights at the rear. It's just a regular scooter. What we want to see is that thing working, right? So let's go. So why three wheels? Well, basically this is marketed for car drivers because it can be ridden with only a B car license. Depends on your country, but in Europe I think it is, because of the separation between the two front wheels, and most especially so that you can go from good asphalt into these irregular polished cobblestones and not worry too much if you're cornering, accelerating or braking. An added benefit is that the suspension, even though it's kind of stiff, because it is a 230 kilogram bike, it is much more effective than you'd expect, because usually one wheel gets a bump but the other one doesn't, and this is literally off-roading, okay? Look at that. Now my only issue here is that my rear wheel will start skidding left and right, because the right wheel is about 20 centimeters higher than the left wheel. And yet, I have no problems here. On a regular motorcycle, this is dangerous. And come to a stop sign, I can just stop and go. And thanks to the traction control, I can even go without a worry. So, lazy motorcycling? Another added benefit of the three wheels is stopping power, because you have double the rubber at the front. And so let's try just the front wheel. Just the front brake, sorry. 60 kph, just the front brake and brake. So ABS activates and eventually it stops. This is because scooters have a lot of weight in the rear, and because of that you should use also your rear brake. In this bike, the rear lever actually is a combined braking system. It can also be activated by the heel braking system here. And the rear lever will activate the front and rear for a much more effective brake. And brakes. That was fantastic. That is a lot of braking power. But that was just the rear. Okay, even though the rear also activates the front, that was technically just the rear brakes. Let's see front and rear at once. And 60 brakes. Ugh. Wow. I almost got thrown forward out of the bike. The stopping power is not big, it's not a lot, it's absolutely immense. It is ridiculously strong. So it is a very safe bike for what I like to call the urban off-roads. Another party piece of it is that you can attack sidewalks at any angle, like so. I actually had just one wheel up on the sidewalk and you didn't even notice. It's just unbelievable. Where does this go? Or you can just drop down like this. No longer do we have to be careful of little... Come on, Pooch. No longer do we have to be careful of the ditches because the wheel might slip down on it. No, we just attack it and that's it. Here we are, the test track. Does this ride like a regular motorcycle? Or at the very least like a regular scooter? So first things first, the engine is the same as the X-Max 300, except that now it is being asked to pull uphill 234 kilograms. Or 239 actually. So it's going to be a lot slower. Let's try to take this easy because this is a weird bike. And even taking this easy, you get some absolutely ridiculous leanage and you've still got grip to spare. It's a bit slow turning in. It's not exactly an agile bike doing this. It's agile enough in town, but it's slow going in, as if it's dampened or something, which it is. But once down, it stays down, and it stays exactly in the same place you are expecting it to, and it corners like a dream. Reminds me of the Nikon. You have always more grip. And when you finally reach its limits, it starts washing out. It becomes light. It is now. The steering starts to go light. The whole bike feels lighter and more nervous, and it starts to widen the turn. Even with all this grip, it does have the tendency to widen the turn because of the extra mass at the front. So you'll always end up widening the turn more than you would expect. Even if everything's going right, everything's going okay, you'll always wash out a little bit. It has this tendency to try to widen the turns a bit more than you expect. And this is the cool thing about the three wheels, that you don't really care about this. Although, as you've seen, the turn radius is pretty large for a motorcycle. I usually am able to do that easily. The only bike where I couldn't do that easily, turning around there, using a little bit of that curb on the side was the R6 because, well, it's a sports bike. And now this one, which took a huge turn to turn around. I've already noticed this while trying to maneuver it around in the garage. Well, that's a disadvantage of so much furniture up front. But there's just so much grip, it is fine. I'm more concerned about washing out the front and just going too wide and just steering clear off the roads than actually crashing or falling or low-siding. I guess it's impossible to low-side this. I really wish I could take one of these, gear myself with a ridiculous amount of armor and just ride it until I manage to low-side this. I don't think it's possible. I think you'll spin. The rear wheel will spin out before you actually manage to low-side. It is amazing. It's not a fun bike here. It's not. It's not agile enough. It's too slow. But it works fine. Here we are to return the Tricity 300. This bike behind me has a bit of a dual personality. I am the car driver who does not have a biking license, so this looks like a pretty good option to go to work. Instead of taking the car, I could just buy one of these and go. I am the motorcycle rider. I've always ridden my entire life, but now this seems like a good option, so I don't have to care about bad pavement and oil and rain and painted lines. So I can just go relaxed into work. I'll keep my other bikes for fun, but this one seems like a more safe commuting bike. So why not? A safer scooter just to go to work? Doesn't seem bad. Now, doesn't seem bad, but it has a few nags that I really don't like. It weighs a ton. Well, not a ton, but as much as a BMW GS 1200, which is frankly ridiculous. It is very heavy and it is felt. It is also not the most agile bike out there. It takes a long time shifting directions. These two wheels dampen that a lot. On the other hand, you can corner however you'd like, although it keeps pushing out constantly, but you can corner like a madman. It'll keep you safe. Brakes a lot. It's insane. The braking force this has should not be possible. It's too much brakes for a bike like this, for a 300cc bike. The engine is the same as the T-Max, which due to the weight makes it be a really slow engine. It's a very calm bike. Calm to turn, calm to accelerate, insane to brake. Another little detail I don't particularly enjoy is the 12-volt charger does not have a tray to put your cell phone on, so the only way to charge your cell phone is to put it on your pocket and then connect yourself to the bike through the cable, which is something I'm not really keen on, but small details. Other than that, the practical scooter, very safe to go into work, to attack sidewalks. Instead of having to go perpendicular to the sidewalks, you can go literally parallel to them and just go up the sidewalk as if you were a car. Pretty cool. Yeah, I don't like the colors. Only 3 colors, black, gray, and gray-green. I'd really like a blue, phantom blue one, like the MX, or a deep blue or a red one. Anything but just these grays. For me, the car driver, this looks pretty good. I really enjoy that it stays up by itself. It's not on the side stand thing. It does have a center stand, which I don't know how to operate, and it's very confusing, so I prefer to just park it like this. This is awesome. I park it in the garage like this. I can easily move it around in the garage because it stays this way and I can still steer. Like, see? That's awesome. So it's easy to maneuver around the garage to get it out. There's great wind protection. I really like that the colors are very subdued. It's a very discreet bike. It's not flashy. So it's a very adult. I can go to work with suit and tie and just the helmet. And it's got a good boot space, so I can put my stuff in there. I really like it. It's very safe. Brakes, good enough. Brakes well enough. Accelerates like my car, so it's fine. Has more than enough top speed at 150 kph. Good enough for the highway, so It just does everything I would do with my cheap car going to work, except that this is cheaper, saves me a ton of fuel, saves me in parking costs, so yeah, I would get this one. This seems pretty cool. Well, yeah, it seems pretty cool, but it is very expensive. The T-Max, which is objectively a better bike, is nearly 2,000 euros cheaper. Okay, it's not as safe as this, but it's still a toss-up. If where I'm going has bad pavement, I prefer this. If where I'm going has good roads, I just get the T-Max. So that's it. H-Rods.